Seed retention can undoubtedly transform your life. The sooner you make your choice, the better. However, many people are unable to give up pornography while maintaining their current lifestyle. Have you ever wondered why it is so difficult to stop watching porn? Everything around you has been designed to make giving in to your desires simpler. It is very common. Many individuals assume it is to be healthy without considering the drawbacks. Many of your friends will laugh at you if you tell them about seed retention. Why? Because they've gone so far down the rabbit hole that seed retention has become a myth and pseudoscience. Welcome back to Potent Logic, gentlemen. Provocative wisdom and guidance for every man. That is the subject of today's video. The science behind seed retention and why you should stop pornography as soon as possible to avoid it. Let's refresh your memory with the term dopamine, which is frequently used in the seed retention community. Without going too technical, you should know that dopamine is a neurotransmitter that controls your desires. If you're on the seed retention path, the term impulses may be frightening. In truth, cravings are a healthy and important part of existence. You would most likely die of hunger or lack of oxygen if your dopamine didn't push desires on you because you couldn't be bothered eating or breathing. This is why it's so important to understand dopamine. It pushes you to seek possibilities and chase prospective benefits if you wish to break a bad habit. You wouldn't be consistent in doing something you're good at or pursuing your long-term goals if it wasn't there. You can alter your dopamine reward pattern. That's right, you have a complete control. The more pleasure you give it, the more desires it will give you. There's a great quote for this that you should memorize and know by heart. There's a human organ that is never satisfied if you feed it. It is only satisfied if you keep it hungry, it says. Your dopamine reward system determines your willingness to complete a level in a video game or the power that motivates you to get out of bed early in the morning to attend a school workshop or fitness session. I just explained that you can completely modify the reward scheme. How? Let's start with the rat dopamine experiment, which most of you are probably familiar with. Scientists observe how rats respond when their dopamine receptors are switched off in one experiment. The rats got lazy and starved to death when the reward system was switched off, as expected. They did not eat the meal that was placed in front of them. What went wrong in that situation? If you observe, you'll notice that the rats had no desire to eat or engage in any activity. This is exactly how heroin and cocaine function. They cause the dopamine receptors in the brain to become inactive for the time being by stimulating them at exceedingly high levels. Such impacts always affect the human body, a goal of maintaining equilibrium. However, large levels of drug use may prevent it from recovering. In this situation, your brain responds by reducing the number of receptors. It's the same as taking steroids. When you use steroids, you're intentionally blasting your body with testosterone. So your body shuts down its testosterone production to restore the proper balance of testosterone because it's already getting plenty from the stairwell. This is why many people's balls start to shrink when they use the stairway. As a result, the more dopamine you give your brain, the more it will try to restore you to normal by shutting down its dopamine receptors. According to a scientific study, this is what you will begin to experience now that some of your dopamine receptors have been turned off. Fatigue, lack of motivation, insomnia, mood swings, memory loss, social anxiety, low libido, sugar cravings, stress, inability to connect with others, and inability to focus are examples of these health conditions. Not only that, but low dopamine levels can lead to depression, which is a major issue that is underappreciated in the male community. Consider some of the health risks I mentioned. You do the exact opposite of them by practicing seed retention. This implies it will be easier for you to focus, combat sugar cravings, and be socially confident if you connect with others. So, the next time you question your motivation and commitment to seed retention, recall these objectives. Your dopamine receptors are at their peak whenever you engage in any sexual activity. That's right. Apart from sex, science has yet to identify another drug that might boost your dopamine levels. There is no other substance that compares. Now, keep in mind that sex is necessary for human survival, and your body reacts to it naturally. It always gives you the finest you have to offer. Simply put, your dopamine levels are twice as active during sexual activities as they are in normal settings. Morphine is the only medication that can achieve those amounts. Although cocaine induces a 300% increase in blood pressure, it only lasts a few minutes. Pornography, unlike those medications, can keep dopamine levels above 100 for as long as you want because of something called the Coolidge effect. You can keep it up for hours. The Coolidge effect is a topic in and of itself. It's a biological phenomenon that was demonstrated in a rat study. Scientists placed a male and female mouse in a cage to observe their sexual behavior. The couple had a lot of sex at first, but the male mouse became less interested as time went on. The scientists saw that the male mouse was unable to discharge as he had previously. The scientists later discovered that this was due to the male rat's low dopamine level, which suggested that he had no desire to have sex with this particular female. The only method to restore the male's rat dopamine levels was to introduce a new female. His dopamine levels surged back up as soon as the new female mouse entered the cage. He appeared to be as eager for sex as he had been previously. It prompted scientists to believe that if more females had been introduced, the male would have responded similarly. He'd have sex with every new female until he ran out of energy. Humans react in the same way as animals. When you watch porn, your dopamine levels tend to fluctuate in the same way when you go from one video to the next. According to the Coolidge effect, you're truly maintaining high amounts. Because the human mind was never designed to tolerate such high dopamine levels for lengthy periods, you are short-circuiting your mind and frying up your receptors every time you do this. To put it another way, each new video acts as a small dose of cocaine. Because cocaine is pricey and there is a risk of overdosing, the dopamine rush will only last a few minutes. However, porn can extend that time to hours, which is far worse than using serious narcotics. Listen to it again. It's even worse than hardcore drugs. You may be proud of the fact that you have never used heroin or cocaine, but if you continue to view porn, you are no better. Because as we already explained, your brain reduces the number of available dopamine receptors. Consider what could happen if you continue to view porn every day. You could end up inflicting substantial damage to your dopamine reward circuitry in a few years, with the majority of your receptors switched off. If you suffer from social anxiety or depression and lack the motivation to reach your objectives or do something significant, consider what you've learned so far. Take a seat and think deeply. It's past time for you to do what you were born to do, brothers. It's time to break free from the worst drug of our generation: porn and social conditioning. Start slowly and one day at a time. Your reward circuit will begin to mend as time passes. High motivation, increased libido, decreased anxiety, improved social skills, increased self-confidence, and most importantly, God's favor will return to your life. Also, don't forget to express some love. Hit the like button after tapping the subscribe button. If you want us to cover a topic, let us know in the comments below. It has been a pleasure.